There is a viral bagel recipe going around that claims that with only 3 ingredients, they can make a bagel that rivals some of the best bagels in the world from both Montreal and New York. Personally, I don't think that it's got what it takes, but we're gonna make it and we're gonna find out. Let's get into it. Here's our ingredients. Told you, 3 things. And technically the egg is really more of a finishing kind of thing. It's not even really part of the dough. But all you need to make these viral bagels is self-rising flour, plain Greek yogurt, and an egg for egg wash to cover it to give it a little bit of a crispy golden top. That's it. Let's give it a shot. Before we do anything else, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then grab a food scale if you have it. If not, we can work around it, but throw your bowl down, make sure you zero it. And then we're going to add 1 cup of the self-rising flour. Mine was 125 grams. And then 1 cup of the Greek yogurt, in this case 225 grams. So according to the viral recipe, all you got to do is quickly give it a mix. It kind of comes together really quick and forms this like perfect bagel dough. And very quickly into stirring, I realized that was probably not going to be the case for me. I don't know if it was just a difference on ingredients or what, but I started trying to knead this dough and it was very obvious that it was way too wet, like unusably wet still. So I started to add extra flour just to try to make it even semi-workable. And truthfully, I don't even know how much I added at the end of it because I had to add flour probably 5 to 10 more times just to get it to be even remotely workable. So I would not necessarily say it's an equal 1-to-1 ratio with the flour to Greek yogurt. Finally, after fighting with not only the parchment paper that was supposed to be my work surface, but the dough itself, I said, screw it, I'm putting it out on my counter and just making a mess. And that's what we did. And this helped a little bit with the kneading process, but it was still ridiculously just not easy to work with. And according to the recipe that I found in multiple spots, it wasn't just the one that I put on the screen before, but multiple people's recipes, it's supposed to be a super easily workable dough, like comes together quick, easy to form and roll, and it just wasn't the case for me. But regardless, after adding what felt like an eternity more flour, I started to roll out my actual bagels, which, as you can see, still required even more flour just to get it to actually be workable into a shape that wasn't super sticky. Supposedly the recipe made 4 bagels. I only got 3 out of mine just because I wanted them to be for a breakfast sandwich, and you got to kind of make a little bit bigger bagels if we're going to make breakfast sandwiches out of it. So we got 3 bagels out of the 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of Greek yogurt, and then a whole bunch of extra flour on top of it. But here's a little hack. If you don't have a brush to do your egg wash, just put the egg wash on a plate and then dunk your bagel in it upside down. And it kind of works the exact same way as brushing it on. So that's what I did because I don't even know if I own a brush. And then if you don't want to put any toppings on your bagels, this is where you can finish, but I wanted to do a little bit of everything bagel seasoning just for my breakfast sandwiches because I feel like it adds a nice little bit of flavor. And this is also a very kind of plain dough. I don't know that it would really taste good if it was by itself. Despite how awful that was to make that dough, they do kind of look like bagels. I'm gonna hold my breath here. I'm hoping they come out somewhat like a bagel. So, I actually grew up in New York, right on the border of New York and New Jersey in this small little town called Warwick. And it was kind of right in a perfect spot where you got a little bit of Jersey bagels, a little bit of New York bagels, and you kind of saw what the best of both worlds was. Can't say I've ever really had experience with Montreal because I'm not from there, but I'm biased towards New York anyway, so we're gonna say they're the best. But this recipe is claiming that they can make the best bagel you've ever had. And it's only 3 ingredients, which bagels are not just 3 ingredients, and there's quite a bit of technique that goes with making a real quality bagel. So I'm a little skeptical. Do you want a bagel too? I didn't make any without onion on it. I'm sorry, kiddo. I'm gonna make bacon, maybe. Maybe I'll give you some bacon. All right, well, despite how much trouble that dough gave me, despite how easy of a 3-step instruction that was, mix the yogurt with the flour, you got a bagel, we've arrived at something that kind of looks like a bagel. It's definitely not a New York bagel, I will tell you that from the start. It is nothing like that. But I'm gonna let these cool for a minute and we'll taste it and see what it feels like. We'll just go with it. Okay. They've been cooling for a little while. I'm gonna go with the most weird looking one, which is probably this one. This way I can, ooh, that is crispy. This way I can still make a bacon, egg, and cheese out of one of the other ones if this actually tastes decent. So let's just kind of, ooh, that is really hot still. So let's just, it almost actually, the texture on the inside actually reminds me a ton of Red Lobster biscuits. It's like, it's very fluffy. It's definitely not a bagel texture. I'm telling you that off the bat. This is more like a roll, but it gives me that feeling of like a Red Lobster biscuit, which I'm not opposed to. I will definitely make a good sandwich out of this, but it's not a traditional bagel. But let's taste it. I actually like it. It's different. Definitely, I think if I made this again, I would just not even attempt to make it look like a bagel. I would just make it as like a big biscuit and put a sandwich on that instead. But texture-wise, very much Red Lobster biscuit-like. Very, very, very similar. I actually like it a lot. I'm not mad at it. Pleasantly surprised despite how much trouble that gave me. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's make a bacon, egg, and cheese. Like, do it like a New Yorker, right? Let's just do it. All right, gonna take some bacon, line a bacon sheet with it, and get it in the oven at 400 degrees. I am very much team crispy bacon when it comes to breakfast sandwiches. I want a nice crunch when I bite into my sandwich, not floppy. It's gross. Don't want that on a breakfast sandwich. I want crunch. I want satisfaction. That's what I want. If you disagree, let me know in the comments, but I'm team crunchy all the way. For my bacon, I started out by layering them down and kind of like shingling them on top of each other. And then I realized I was going to save a little bit of the bacon for something else, so I actually just spread them out and gave them all a little bit of room to breathe, and then threw them in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. Mine came out just a little bit too crispy on the outside pieces, so I would say 20 minutes at 400 should be perfect. And then for our eggs, I used a little bit of the leftover bacon grease as our food lube in the pan. And then I did give a little bit of a spray with just some cooking spray as well, just to really make sure we weren't getting anything to be sticky. So this is just 2 eggs that have been scrambled. And then after about 30 seconds to a minute, it's starting to get kind of like a fried egg texture to it, which is perfect for a bacon, egg, and cheese. And then once the egg is kind of set on the bottom, I'm trying to just get a little bit of that extra runniness off the top so that I don't make a total mess when I flip it. But then do your best to flip it. And as you can see, I struggled for longer than I should have, but we eventually made it. And there we go. And then for bacon, egg, and cheese, you gotta use the gooey, gross American cheese. No cheddar, nothing fancy, just Kraft singles. It's perfect. And then take your egg, and actually the egg should be so hot still that when you fold it up, the cheese should act as like a binder, and it should all stick together pretty well. And then just to make sure that it's getting sticky, just flip it one last time, and then throw it on a sandwich. Let's give it a taste. After I flex on you. All right, we got a bacon, egg, and cheese done the New York way, which is bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup, standard. I'm not gonna lie, I actually think it's gonna taste pretty good. I don't think it's gonna be authentic to what I'm used to at home, but I think it's gonna be pretty good. Without further ado, you know what? Considering where I live now in Charleston, lack of home feeling bagels, this is pretty dang good. I mean, it's not perfect, but considering I can do this all myself in about half hour, 45 minutes on a morning, yeah, I'm not mad about it. And if the bagels are already made, I mean, that's like 5 minutes of work. So you know what? It may not be the best bagel I've ever had, but they're not bad. I'll make them again. Give it like an 8 out of 10 this time. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going to chow down on this because it's actually excellent. So if you got anything to say, any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section. I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers with some of the stuff I said about New York being the best bagel. So by all means, let's duke it out in the comments. I'm all for it. But thank you guys for watching. If you don't mind leaving a like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And that's all I got for this one. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.